Today's a very special day in my life, actually in the life of another person in my life, a dear friend. In fact, a singing partner. Her name is Anna Betancourt. And I won't tell you how old she is today because then I'd be in trouble broadcasting this in any way, shape, or form. Just suffice to say, I've known Anna and her husband Mike since they were little kids in a parish where I had been an associate or parochial vicar and then pastor too for a number of years down in Los Angeles. Literally seeing them grow up before my very eyes, and both of them wonderful people, certainly, and musicians in their own right. A little over 10 years ago, Anna and I recorded some music. And I mention it because, not coincidentally, we chose as a title for the CD, Rejoice in Hope. We didn't pull it out of thin air. We pulled it out of the letter of St. Paul to the Romans, chapter 12 to be precise, beginning in the middle of that beautiful chapter. And I'm going to read just a part of that, and you will hear the title of the song leap off the page as we did. Your love must be sincere. Detest what is evil, cling to what is good. Love one another with the affection of brothers and sisters. Anticipate each other in showing respect. Do not grow slack, but be fervent in spirit. He whom you serve is the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient under trial. Persevere in prayer. Look on the needs of the saints as your own. Be generous in offering hospitality. Bless your persecutors. Bless, and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Have the same attitude toward all. Put away ambitious thoughts and associate with those who are lowly. Do not be wise in your own estimation. Never repay injury with injury. Such a powerful teaching, especially for our own day and age. But that central message of hope, and to rejoice in hope. It's a consistent message in our family. That is our Roman Catholic Church, our Roman Catholic communion of faith. Years ago, St. John Paul II didn't write a book, but a book was published in which he and an Italian journalist participated in a very extensive interview. The journalist posed questions and St. John Paul responded at length and in his own style, but beautifully. The title of that book was Crossing the Threshold of Hope, full of reasons for hope in that day and age and in our own day and age. Several topics that he covered that are pertinent to what we're going through now during this pandemic. Why do people suffer? Why is there even evil in the world? Do we have to suffer? He answered, at least in one part of the book, with a quote from St. Paul's letter to the Philippians, how Jesus humbled himself, took the form of a slave, being born in the likeness of men, and it was thus that he humbled himself, obediently accepting even death on a cross. So we have a Lord and a Savior who knows suffering. Doesn't just know it, he embraced it, he chose it, and he could have chosen not to. Pope John Paul goes on to quote Mark chapter 15. Jesus is taunted once again, and he's been taunted before. If you are the Son of God, he's tempted in the desert, for example, earlier in the Gospels. If you are the Son of God, you're hungry, change these rocks into bread. You're hungry, aren't you? If you are the Son of God, jump. The angels will catch you, won't they? And then in that chapter 15 of Mark's Gospel, if you are the Messiah, come down from the cross. And he could have, and he chose not to. Again, he embraced a measure of suffering. And Lord knows we certainly have in these days of the pandemic, these days of suffering for so many people. And I'd like to refer to Pope Francis now, fast forwarding to our own day and age and what we're going through right now, each and every one of us. He wrote a preface recently to a book entitled Communion and Hope. And I believe a subtitle was like, In the Time of a Pandemic. It's written by Cardinal Walter Kasper, a German cardinal, and a fellow priest of of his archdiocese. I can't remember the priest's name, but a beautiful preface that the Pope wrote, and I'm going to quote very briefly. Like a sudden breaking storm, the coronavirus crisis has caught all of us by surprise, abruptly changing on a global level our personal, public, family, and working lives. This dramatic situation highlights the vulnerable nature of our human condition. It reminds us that we have forgotten or simply delayed attending to some of the key issues in life. It is making us evaluate what is really important and necessary and what is of secondary or only superficial importance. That last reference to concentrating on what's important, what really matters, what's really necessary, as opposed to what is secondary in our life, not so important, not essential. We've certainly had debate and discussion about that over these last 4 months, and it will continue, about what is essential and what isn't, who is an essential worker and who isn't, what functions in life and society and culture are essential. And we clearly subscribe to the fact that our faith and the expression of it and the living out of it is absolutely essential. We have discovered and have had to create different ways of expressing our faith, of living it out under the requirements of the civil society, and we belong to that, and we try to be the best citizens we can possibly be in whatever country and nation we happen to find ourselves in. And so as those who are committed to the world we live in as well, and to the common good, we've made immense sacrifices. But I must say, in these last weeks or so, 6 or 7 weeks, as I've begun to get back in parishes, because I wanted my pastors to be with their people, to get back with their people to the extent that they could, in the ways that we were able to reopen our liturgies, and now we've had to close them back again, but they will reopen again. And we hope and pray that although nothing will ever be quite the same or normal, I'm convinced of that we will get back to a more ample way of celebrating and of gathering together. But again, I must say, my brothers and sisters, I'm so impressed by you, my fellow priests, by my brother deacons, these collaborators in the faith here in the Diocese of Fresno. I'm impressed by our teachers, our parents, by the first responders who do just incredible work in the midst of real danger. I'm impressed by the beautiful and the creative ways that you have found to gather in the numbers that we can gather in. So, rejoice in hope, my brothers and sisters. You are essential. We are essential. We are precious, beyond precious, in God's eyes. And so I will say it again. Rejoice in hope, and God bless you and those you love in every way and always.